potential breakthrough in the fight against multiple sclerosis.
Yeah, researchers have found that getting mono, also known as the kissing disease, could increase the risk of MS 32 times over, and that could be a step forward in finding a cure to the debilitating disease.
Yeah, a cure is something our next guest has been working towards for the past 3 decades. Nancy Davis is an MS warrior and the founder of Race to Erase MS. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure.
All right, so Nancy, tell us why this cause is really personal for you.
I have multiple sclerosis. I was diagnosed 31 years ago. At the time, there was no known cause, no cure, no drugs on the market, and actually no hope that there would be anything. We're excited that today there's now 25 drugs, and we're celebrating our 30th anniversary this Friday in Los Angeles at the Century Plaza Hotel, the Big Bash. But what's so important is over all those years, there's 25 drugs on the market with FDA approval and so many different ways of looking at MS for that person. Like usually women get MS 5 times as often as men, especially between the ages of 20 and 40 when you're just hitting your stride in life. I got it when I was 33 and I was a mom with 3 kids. I now have 5. And it's when it happens, they told me I should just go home and go to bed. I would never walk again. And the most that I could look forward to in life is operating the remote control on my TV set. I obviously had a lot more dreams in my life, and I'm now probably the luckiest person that lives with MS. We have this foundation called the Center Without Walls, where all of our doctors, the most brilliant doctors from all over the country, they do lots of research, but they have to communicate every month. They can never duplicate each other's research. So it's really gotten us on a very speedy way of getting there. So there's so much happening for that person diagnosed today with multiple sclerosis. You have such a different future ahead of you, which is really a miracle. I mean, that all this has happened in 30 years is nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, it certainly is. You're proof of that. Can you talk a little bit more about the MS connection to mono we mentioned earlier and what researchers discovered?
Well, they've always said for so often that I think every person, or like 99% of everybody that has MS has had mono sometime in their life. And they're worried about the after effects of mono. Sometimes people don't even know they had mono. But later in life, there's a certain protein when you've got an Epstein-Barr virus or EPV that can cause this to happen. That could be the thing that maybe triggers the demyelination, which could cause your MS. However, 90% of all the people in our country get EPV. So it's not 100%, but if they could find a way of having a vaccine to ever stop this from happening, theoretically it could wipe out a lot of MS and a lot of other autoimmune diseases as well. It would be like incredible. So it's exciting what's happening with science right now. The idea that we could get to the end of this Epstein-Barr virus. And if you've ever had it, I remember having mono when I was younger. And they do call it the kissing disease, but I think you can get it lots of other ways besides kissing. It lays in your body. You never get rid of it once you have Epstein-Barr. It's like it's always laying dormant in your body, and it wreaks havoc. So the idea that there's now science that will hopefully get rid of this, and you could have a vaccine to stop it ever invading your body, would just be a miracle for people with MS and so many things.
Now, Nancy, you mentioned that some people may not be even aware that they have MS. So what are some of the more common symptoms of it?
MS can mean so many things, but the word multiply means many. The word sclerosis means scarring. So there's many scars that form in your brain and your spinal column. Very much like the old-fashioned telephone cord has like a plastic around it. That's the same in our brain and our spinal column. So what happens is you lose little bits. So the protective coating is called the myelin sheath. And when little bits of the myelin sheath disappear, they affect completely different things in your body. You can lose your ability to see. You can't walk. Your memory, you're so incredibly tired. There's bladder problems. There's vision problems. There's so many layers of different things. But no two people with MS have the same thing because it depends where these lesions lie. If they go up or down a millimeter to the left or the right, they affect completely different functions in your body. So we don't know, exactly when you first get MS, what is going to happen with your MS. But the idea that there's these amazing medicines now that help stop the progression of MS that did not exist before. These different B-cell therapies have really, really helped so much for that new person just being diagnosed with MS today. Your future is so much brighter, and there's so much positivity and hope that you could live a really good quality of life and live, live your dreams out that you've always wanted to do. When I was diagnosed, it was very negative, and it was so sad because I didn't know where I was going to end up. And it took quite a few years to have any medications on the market, but to think now there's 25 drugs.
It's just it's remarkable, Nancy. I mean, you have helped change the narrative over the past 3 decades.
Well, me and a lot of other people.
Yes.
There's so many people that have been for years. I can't, obviously take all the credit, but I was a scared person who was 33, and I was a mom, and I was completely terrified. And when I would go from doctor to doctor, I listened to the research that they were doing. I was secretly praying somebody would say, "You do not have MS." But when I listened to what they every great hospital in that time, from Harvard to Yale to the Cleveland Clinic to Johns Hopkins, they were all doing identical research, but knew that they were the only one doing it. So we created this thing with making the doctors all have to communicate monthly with all research, good and bad, studies that are bad or good to learn from.
Right.
Somebody's spending amount of money, time, and energy again and again. It's so important that all the doctors have to communicate. So we really insist on that. And today, we're really excited to celebrate the fact that there are 25. So exciting with
Nancy, I wish we could talk to you longer about this because there is so much out there. I know we're going to have a link to our website as well, but we wanted to make sure we get that message out about this new study offering some hope. So thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. And if you'd like,
so much for getting.
Thank you. If you'd like more information on the race to erase MS or to donate to the cause, visit erasems.org.